Hey polish fans, it's Caroline again and welcome to another video here at Wild Moon Lacquer. In today's video, we are doing another drawer in my destash project. This time we are doing Color Club, and as you can see, this is one of the fuller drawers in my Helmers, and this isn't even all of the Color Clubs that I own. I have a handful that I haven't yet added to my nail polish app, and there might be a few others floating around in segments of polish that I haven't yet organized. I know I did my huge organization and that did organize quite the majority of my polish, but there's still some stragglers here and there. In any case, short of the story is we're doing this drawer today just to see if we can destash any, and I'm hoping we can because as you can see, it's a pretty tight squeeze in here. And there's a little bit of room, but not how I would like. So we're going to go through one by one, see if I can't pull any, and get this drawer a little clearer, because I don't even think I can clear this enough to really do like I've been doing and like pull from one side of the drawer and then, you know, move all my yeses to the other side. Can't really do that in this tight of a drawer. So I'm going to move a few out so I can give myself a little bit of space. There we go. Now we have a little bit of room to work with. All right, let's just start over here. And as I've mentioned in my other destash videos, I don't necessarily have a goal in mind as far as a number of polishes I would like to get rid of. It's just that over the last few years, I've definitely amassed quite a bit of polish and I don't need to keep it all. So we're just going to see where my tastes lie today as we go. And I think what I'm going to start to do with the Color Club anyways is kind of gather anything in this shade range and just sort of give myself that as a comparison. I think that's going to be the closest for. So we have Color Clubs One Love, Swedish Sugar Cane, Cherry Icy, and Jamaica Me Crazy. These are definitely not dupes. I would say the closest are going to be these two oranges here. That is Sweet as Sugar Cane on the left and Jamaican Me Crazy on the right. Both of them are brilliant, bright, poppy shades of orange. Jamaican Me Crazy is lighter though. I feel like that is more of a yellow leaning orange, whereas Sweet as Sugar Cane is a very bright, deeper shade of orange. It's more along the lines of almost like, think, traffic cone. I think they're different enough that I'm all right keeping both. Then these two, Cherry Icy and One Love, again, not dupes. In fact, I should probably find something else closer to that Cherry Icy as far as like a red, bright red goes, but I don't think I have one, at least in Color Club. So for the time being, do I need both of these? Again, they're not dupes. They are different from each other. I feel like One Love is more of a like almost bleached neon, where I feel like Cherry Icy is a pretty bright, almost red. I mean, it's, I think in my collection, one of the closest red neons, but when you compare it to a red, that's not a red. Of course, I can't find one, but when you compare it to a red, this has some neon orangey pink quality to it, but I did really like it when I swatched it, so we're going to keep that one. And then One Love, I want to say that this was one of the colors that I did swatch and really enjoyed. Now with this shade, I do have quite a number of other colors, both from this brand and others that are this neon coral cantaloupe, but I really enjoy it on. So I feel like, especially for the sake of comparisons, which I still need to do, I do want to hold on to this one because this is a beautiful color. All right, let's go ahead and do Now Is the Time. That's the most silver. We have Winter White, which is like a pearl, and then we have French Tip, which is a basic white cream. And if you're new to my channel, basically I have been keeping a number of basic white creams with the intention of at some point doing comparisons. Again, white is one of those colors where it's not as simple as one color is white. There are so many different shade ranges, even in what looks to be a basic white cream. You can have some that have a more warm tone, some have a cooler tone, some lean a pinch gray, some lean a pinch yellow, with still maintaining a white look to them. So to me seems worth comparing at some point in my collection. Now that does mean though that I do have a number of white polishes. Does that mean I need to keep this one? I don't remember. Actually, speaking of which, this is another sort of off-white. There compared to French white, you can see that that is actually gray, but when you compare this to a deeper shade of gray, it is basically a white. I think for Silver Lake, I am going to go ahead and let that one go. So I think that'll be our first into the destash. Let's see. Now is the time is, again, kind of in the white family. This is a silver glitter, and it has this sort of an off-white, light gray base. I actually think I'm okay letting this one go too. I don't know. I think I may have kept this in with intentions of maybe using it as a topper, but I'm swamped with those as well. So I think I'm okay just letting that one go. Winter White, I do want to do a quick little comparison because I know I have another pearl from Zoya. So I'm going to pull those and do a quick little comparison here. And then to French Tip, that is our basic white. I think for the time being, I will go ahead and just hold on to that one. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that Zoya. Okay, so the one that I have from Zoya is Aspen. And I want to do just a quick little side-by-side comparison of these to see if they are similar enough that I only need the one. Okay, so that is one coat of each. The Color Club's on the left, Aspen from Zoya is on the right. They actually are very different. Now, they both are in the sort of pearly white family, but the one from Zoya has some shimmer in it, whereas the one from Color Club is more of a straight up white pearl. Okay, so I did one more coat on that Color Club. The Zoya I'm letting dry to its natural finish, which is going to be that sort of a satiny matte finish. So there's two coats of the Color Club, one coat of the Zoya, which is pretty opaque for just a single coat, especially of a white. Now I will say that Color Club does, at least so far, leave streaks. So I am noticing a finish difference. Now what that just means is you can't go through and like dab the brush on the end to make any corrections in your application because you will notice that. So whether or not it stays that way once the polish dries, I'm not too sure, but so far I can still see that. And there's the Zoya with its matte finish. So again, they are different, but they're close enough. If I was looking for this kind of a polish, which would I go for? And I think for the time being, I am okay just letting go of Winter White. That is the Color Club. And then I'll put back the Zoya. I think I'm going to hold on to that one. Next up, we have Batteries Not Included. This is one that I got in the Dollar Mystery polish sale that they had last year, and this is adorable. It's a very light blue crelly with some pink metallic glitters and some blue matte glitters. I thought that this one was really sweet, very springy. Now, I didn't pull it from my spring rack, although I did consider it, but let's go ahead and swatch this one and just see if the coloration is one that I could see myself wearing, because one of my most recent discoveries about my taste preferences is I've noticed that if a color is super desaturated, even for winter and spring manis, I just don't want them. Like I just don't enjoy them as much as I do colors that are a little bit more saturated. And I won't say I'm getting rid of all of my pale colors, but I will say it's just going to be a deciding factor from now on. Of course, as with all of my rules, it's, it'll change probably again in another few months. But for the time being, for this destash, that's where my head is at. And so far, this is a very soft color, but I am liking the glitter mix. I am also liking that this bottle has their newer wide brush, which is a lot better with application than the pearl one was. So there it is in 2 coats. And yeah, I think for me, it's just a very, very washed out color. So I think as much as I enjoyed it in the bottle, I think I'm actually okay just letting that one go. That was Batteries Not Included. Did not think I'd get rid of that one. All right. Next up is one of their holographics. This one is called Sidewalk Psychic. Kind of a spoiler, I'm probably not getting rid of any of their holographics. I adore this formulation from them. It is incredible, and I love this color. It's a beautiful fall shade of like a copper, so that one is staying. Next up in their holographic formula is Under Pressure. This one is a purple. So as you guys have heard me say before, purples, especially purple holos, are a color category that I absolutely need to do comparisons of, but this formulation, again, from Color Club, is very impressive, especially for the price point. So that one is staying. Next up, we have Crystal Baller. This is another in their holographic formula. This one is staying again. I mean, look at that holo. It is a beautiful shade of blue. Next up, we have another cream. This one is Seeing Seagulls. I want to say I have worn this one, and it is a cream turquoise. It's a beautiful color. It might not be the most unique, but it is a color that I reach for, so that one is staying. Next up, we have Regatta Red. This one is more like a pink leaning red, even though I feel like on camera, at least on my screen, it is showing up as a red, maybe a slightly pink leaning red. But in person, to me, it leans a little bit more like a red leaning dark pink. It's a beautiful color. Ooh, this one also has their newer brush, a wide flat brush instead of their narrow brush. This is another one where it's a beautiful color. I don't know specifically if I can think of any other colors offhand that might dupe this, so I do think I'm going to hold on to that one. Next up, we have one of their matte finishes. This one is called Matte About You. This is a very pretty mermaidy shade, except that it dries to a matte finish. And yeah, here on the brush, you can see what I mean about that mermaidy shade. It's a blue with green shimmer. I mean, the likelihood is I would probably want to wear this, because it is a shimmer, in a glossy finish. So let's just go ahead and gloss it up on the nail swatch, at least on one half. Oh yeah. That is so pretty glossed up. So half matte, half glossy. Yeah, glossy is where it's at for me with a shimmer polish. It looks so good. So it also sort of deepens up the color when you glossify it. So for the time being, I'll hold on to that one. Next up, we have Miami Vice. This is a light aqua leaning sky blue in a cream. Now this one is kind of washed out as well. And I want to say there was a handful of colors that I got in this shade range as well. Again, a lot of these did come to me in that dollar mystery sale that they had a while ago. So here are those three different variations. We have Soul Ties on the right, Miami Vice in the middle, and then Meet Me at the Rink on the far left. As you can see, they are different shades. They are different. They're not straight up dupes. I would say that Soul Ties leans greener, and then Meet Me at the Rink is an even paler shade of a sky blue without that pinch of an aqua or green lean to it. And I don't remember if I've worn at the Rink. I want to say I did wear a number of the Color Clubs after I got them, but I don't remember if this was one of them. And again, we are dealing with a very, very pale color here. Although I would say for this one, it might make a decent undie color for, you know, those topper portions that I'm doing in my hauls. And actually on the wand and brush, it's not quite so pale. In fact, on camera, it's amplifying the color up a pinch, which might mean that once it's on the nail, when it's being compared to your skin tone, it might be a little bit more blue than I feel like it's pulling in the bottle. Even though it is blue, it's very white leaning, but I do think for the time being, I'll hold on to that one, even though that wasn't the one that we originally pulled. So we have Miami Vice and then Soul Ties. Both, again, are very pale shades as far as their respective color families. This one is Miami Vice. And I feel like with Miami Vice, it's almost got this watery finish to it. But it's also a very pretty color. So I thought I would be able to at least get rid of one of these. And actually, you know what? I think I will get rid of one of them. I'm going to keep Miami Vice, but I think of those three Soul Ties, the lightest green didn't really speak to me as much as those other two. I could see potential with the other two. So we're going to go ahead and let that one go. All right, next up we have the Bling Ring. This is a beautiful clay orange. That one is staying. Next up is High Society. This one is somewhere between like a tan and an army green. It has a green gray look to it. It's a very interesting color. And that's mainly the reason I kept it. Ooh, this is another one that has their newer, wider paddle brush. Very nice. So yeah, I think with this one, it's a neat enough color. It's unique. I do want to hold on to that one, even if it's just to wear under other colors. Next up, we have Talk to the Hand. This is a bleached neon orange. And here are a few others that I had outside the tray at the moment to give me some room to move things around. So we have Talk to the Hand, which is the orangest. The other two lean a little bit more like pinky cantaloupe. So we have Get It Girl and East Austin. And I think one of these, it might have been the Get It Girl, either has two versions or one of my bottles might have been mislabeled, because I think I did end up getting Get It Girl in two different colorations, and I still haven't quite figured that one out. At least my memory is not, I don't have that in mind if I did figure it out. But Talk to the Hand is a really beautiful bleached neon orange. Now, I do have a number of bleached neon oranges, as I mentioned earlier. I just need to decide if that means that this one is in the running for keeping, or if that means that, well, I already have a number. I mean, one of the ones that I'm thinking of is China Glaze Flip Flop Fantasy, which I don't think is this orange. The version I have is more of a coral. So I do think I want to go ahead and hold on to Talk to the Hand. That one will stay. Of these other two, though, these I feel are more in the shade range of Flip Flop Fantasy without being identical. They are pretty close to each other, though, so I don't think I need both. So we have Get It Girl and then East Austin. And I mean, they're both pretty colors. I don't have anything against the color here. They're beautiful shades, and they're one of those color families that just give you an instant tan. Now, both of these bottles need a good shake pretty badly. Let's go ahead and just pull Flip Flop Fantasy. So I've pulled Flip Flop Fantasy just so that I can see these side by side to see how close or far they are from each other. So we have Get It Girl and East Austin. China Glaze is definitely the brighter, deeper, richest shade, so I don't think I'm going to be competing too much with these other colors with the China Glaze. So obviously I'm keeping the China Glaze. And I think this is going to be another instance where I do need to swatch. I just cannot decide if I'm seeing differences because they actually are that different. And even if they are slightly different, if those differences matter. So we're going to swatch. And we're also going to swatch the China Glaze in the middle so that I can compare it again. This time on the nail. Okay, so here's Get It Girl. And again, I'm not too sure if my bottle is correct or not. I know I looked into it after I did that haul, but I am not remembering what the outcome was, if I kept one bottle or both, if they were different or what. And then here is East Austin. And yeah, I'm glad I swatched these, because even though they were looking very, very light in the bottle, here you can see them compared to Flip Flop Fantasy there in the middle, and both of these are turning out brighter than I expected, but Flip Flop Fantasy is definitely still the darkest, the deepest, even though we're still talking bright colors here, especially swatched with the China Glaze in between. These were very similar to each other. So Get It Girl is a touch lighter. East Austin has that brighter cantaloupe, like neon cantaloupe shade, as does the China Glaze, although that's more orange leaning. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Get It Girl and hold on to East Austin. I like that color a little bit better. It has a bit more richness to it. And then again, we are still keeping the China Glaze, obviously. Okay, next up we have an older China Glaze. This one is Shabby Drab. This is a gray cream. Now, grays are definitely a color family that I know I need to compare, but I do really like this tone, so we're going to keep that one. We have another one of their mattes. This one is called Blooming Beauty. So one of the things I really like about their matte bottles is that they are specialty frosted bottles. I really like that additional touch. So here is Blooming Beauty. It's kind of this brown leaning pinky, kind of mauve shade. And yeah, I like that. I will have to compare it to a few other colors, especially I think like in the Essie range and maybe China Glaze. I think both of those brands have polish in this shade range that I would need to compare this one to at some point, but I still like it. We're going to go ahead and keep that one. Ooh, we have another matte color. This one is What's the Matte? Now this is a beautiful like swampy green. And you guys, I don't know what it is about this past month or so, but I have been enjoying green polishes, this shade of green. Now, before, I was mainly interested in like teals and mints. Now, there were a few other shade ranges kind of like this, like a very light army green, like a sagey green. And I liked colors like this, but lately I've actually been getting them on my nails, and I've been leaning into other grungier, murkier greens that I didn't really used to be drawn to. So again, tastes changing and adapting. All that to say that I am holding on to this one. This is absolutely gorgeous. All right, let's do a couple of their older holos. These are both of the pinks. Do I have another one? Yes, I have a couple of their pinks. So we have Cloud 9, Fashion Addict, and Miss Bliss. Now, obviously, Miss Bliss is the brightest pink. That is a pop of pink. That one is staying. These other two, I think, are close enough that I do need to do a closer look and comparison. So, obviously, Cloud 9, I mean, look at that holo. Very impressive. And then we have Fashion Addict. Now, what I've noticed with some formulations of holos is sometimes in the bottle they're not that spectacular, but when they're swatched, they're pretty dazzling. So that's just something to keep in mind. Sometimes it's hard to see the holo in the bottle, but I also feel like these are different. So I think that Cloud 9 is actually more of like a pale, pale purple, and then Fashion Addict is that soft blushy pink. And again, I mean, you guys, for a mainstream company, they do holos so well. So well. So I thought for sure I might be able to get rid of one of these since we had 3 pinks to look at, but no, they're all staying. But like I said, their holos are just spectacular. All right, next up we have one of their shimmers. This one is Kiss My Astrology. And you guys, it's a purple, so I don't think anybody is going to be surprised. That one is staying. Next up we have a dark blue. This is This Blows. Now, I was going to call this like a navy, but I think it's a very dark teal. It's got that pinch of a green lean to it, although I don't know if that's coming through very well on camera, at least on my screen. But it is a nice deeper shade, so I do want to hold on to that one. Ooh, okay, now we're dealing with one of their specialty limited editions. This one is Cyber Slick. This is absolutely gorgeous. And another mini spoiler for these, I don't think they're going anywhere either. I got the, what was it, quad? It was either a quad or a, what do you call a group of 5? A quintuplet of polishes in their specialty limited edition. Used to be $20 a bottle package, and I got the entire package for $40, and I think it was even on sale because I got it around the same time that I was doing their dollar mystery polishes, and they've all been very impressive. Look at the purpley, fuchsia, magenta shifts in this one. You can see green and gold there at the edges of the bottle as well. That is absolutely stunning. Would I have spent $20? No. Would I have got it for the price I did? Absolutely. So yeah, that one is staying. And then let's just go ahead and pull the other specialty ones. It came in that quad. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a quad. So one of the others is Black Magic. This was their version of the black to red multichrome. It is beautiful, and as you can see, there are a lot more colors than just black to red. It seems to run the gambit of a bunch of different shades. I love this type of a shift in a multichrome, so we're keeping that. Again, at some point I might have to do a comparison, but I know a lot of other people have already compared many of the black to red multichromes already, so we'll see if that happens. But this is one that I have worn. This is Lucky Charm. Oh my goodness. If you don't have this and you like this kind of a polish, I 100% suggest getting it. Now, I don't suggest going out and spending like $100 on the bottle. To me, that is just absolutely ridiculous. For me personally, I just can't justify at any point spending that much money on a polish. It's not worth it to me. But if you can find this in somebody's D-stash for a reasonable price, hopefully under $20, I would say go for it. It is absolutely beautiful. Now, another thing that you can do is Moonshine Manny does have a version of their Project Dupe that sort of replicated this polish, and I don't remember the name of it, but last time I checked, they did still have it on their website. So it's going to be at least close. I think they might have changed up the glitter particles in their version, but this one has such incredible shifts, and I did really enjoy the glitter. I mean, look at the purple popping up there at the corner. That's not going anywhere. Next up and lastly in that quad we have All Wrapped Up. This one is a green shifting polish that has blue and gold and magenta. It also has these little blue particles in it. This is not going anywhere either. I also think some of those are like scented, which I'm neither here nor there about, honestly. Next up we have All Natural, and this one is a brown. Now in the bottle it's looking a bit yellow around the edges, but here is what it looks like on the brush. It is a true like deep chocolate brown. It's a gorgeous neutral, so that one is staying. Next up we have Don't Rain on My Parade. This is another beautiful cream. It's so bright but deep at the same time. It is this, I don't know, would you call this like a deep cornflower blue? Because it's not quite a periwinkle. There's not enough purple in it, but there is purple in it. Does that make sense? But there's the barest pinch of a purple color. I love shades like this that blur the lines. Maybe it's like a blue leaning indigo. I don't know. But whatever it is, it's absolutely gorgeous. There you can see a little bit of the separation of that purple in the base. Yeah, that one is staying. Next up we have another cream. This is Talk Dirty to Me. This one is a dusty mulberry shade. Now this one is dusty, not desaturated, so it's not a very pale shade. This is perfect for fall. That one is staying. Next up we have Ghosted. This one needs a good shake. This one is another cream, and this is a dusty, kind of like bricky rose. I love tones like this as well. Let's just briefly compare it to Regatta Red, and they are definitely different. Regatta Red is more of a brighter berry compared to the dustier tone that leans almost clay by comparison. So both of those are staying. Next up we have Get Lost. This is another very pale blue. Just to compare it to the pale blue of Batteries Not Included. Batteries Not Included actually has a pinch more of a green lean to it by comparison. And then just to briefly compare it to one of the other shades of very pale blue that I did keep, this is Meet Me at the Rink. By comparison, Meet Me at the Rink has a little bit more of a bright sky blue quality, whereas Get Lost has more of a white cast to it, a little bit more white, less sky blue, if that makes any sense. So it is a pretty color. Just trying to decide if this is one that I would reach for over the other colors that I already kept. So yeah, I do think I'm okay letting this one go. I did already keep that light sky blue, and this one is another very desaturated color that I just don't know how I feel about it, and I already have a couple other soft shades, so we're gonna go ahead and let that one go. Ooh, up next we have another holo. This is It Love or Luster? Let's just compare it to that other pink holo that I've already kept. That one was Miss Bliss. Now these are definitely closer than those other two very pale shades of pink. One in fact I think was a pale purple, so these two are closer. However, I do think that Is It Love or Luster is a richer tone, a deeper shade of pink. So there on the nail you can see that Miss Bliss is that bright shade. In the bottle you can see that Is It Love or Luster is that deeper tone. So that one's staying as well. Next up we have another brown. This is Dare to Bear. This one is more like a lighter milk chocolate brown, and that one is staying. Next up, ooh, we have another shimmer. This is That's the Spirit. This is a beautiful dusty stormy blue with a gorgeous shifting shimmer, so that is staying. we have another one of their holographics, although this is a different formulation than their other standard holos. This one is called Carrot Cake, and this one is very interesting. Even though I wouldn't say it's a straight up holo as the lid would suggest, it is very interesting in the shifts that it has, all in this sort of a light orange, almost coppery base. It's very pretty. That one is staying. Next up, we have Do It for the Gram. This is a beautiful army green. That is staying. Next up, we have Love 'em and Leave 'em. This one also sort of reminds me of Regatta Red, but I think, yeah, this is actually more of a true red. It is a fall red, like a spice red, whereas Regatta Red is more of a pink by comparison. And I love the tone of Love 'em and Leave 'em, so that one is going to stay. Next, we have a yellow. This one is called I'm a Sure Thing. Now, I did recently do a comparison on one of my videos that compared China Glaze Mustard the Courage with a couple other yellows, and I feel like I don't need this one if I'm keeping Mustard the Courage, which I am. So I think I'm okay just letting this one go. It's another mustard shade, and I just don't feel like I would reach for that color often enough to justify having multiple bottles of a similar color. So I think we're going to go ahead and let I'm a Sure Thing go. Next up, we have Martian. This is a mid-tone dusty shade of green. Still needs quite a lot of shaking, but this is a very pretty shade of green, kind of like a jade. So that one is staying. Next up, we have Nail Robbie. This is a beautiful color. This one is a deep inky purple. That is a keeper. Okay, we have a lot of these brighter shades of pink. Let's go ahead and just compare a few of them. Okay, so we have One Step Modern Pink, Saltwater Taffy, Beach Please, and Get It Girl. Okay, so I did keep both versions of Get It Girl. And here's what I mean. The other bottle of Get It Girl is that Corally Cantaloupe. So very different, but they both have the same tag. So that one is a bleached pink. Then Beach Please is a pink neon. Saltwater Taffy is more of a dusty shade of like a Barbie pink. And then One Step Modern Pink is a one coat bright pink. I'm going to keep the one coater. That one is a very bright pink. I do think I'm kind of leaning towards getting rid of Saltwater Taffy. That's the dusty kind of Barbie pink. Whoops. And I guess in the bottle it's not quite as dusty. It's a very pretty color actually. Doggone it. Just when I think I've come up with a way that I can get rid of one, they rope me back in. Okay, so here's how I think they land color-wise. Beach Please, Saltwater Taffy, and Get It Girl. I do think I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of the Get It Girl. Yeah, I think I'm okay just doing that. But I did really like how Saltwater Taffy looked on the brush, so I think I might like it on the nail. And then I do really like Beach Please, how bright it is. And again, just for comparison, it is a brighter shade of pink. So we're keeping a lot of bright pinks. Next up, we have another pink holo. This one is I've Got a Crush, and this has larger particles of holo glitter, so that is staying. Next up, we have You're So Vain. This is a very interesting one. I think it dries to a textured finish. Beautiful shifts all in this inky base, so that is staying. Next up, we have In the Limelight. This is another color that sort of mixes purple and blue together, and I love that, so this is staying. Next, we have a micro glitter called Slay the Day. As you can see, it's got those fuchsia micro glitters, all in this sort of, what would this be? Like a curly? No, a jelly base. There you can see that on the brush and wand. Actually, I think I'm okay letting this one go too. I like it, but I feel like we've kept a lot of brighter pinks. And this one is that squishy base, so I think I'm all right just letting that one go. Next up, we have Ghosted. Another Ghosted. Did I know I had 2 bottles of Ghosted? Probably not. But yeah, here we go. 2 bottles of Ghosted. So I already have one. I don't need 2. We're going to destash 1. That was easy. Next up, we have another one of their matte formulas. This is You're My Soul Matte. And here's how it looks on the nail. It's a beautiful purple to gold. So on this one, we're going to gloss up 1/2 again so we can see what we're dealing with. And yeah, absolutely team glossy here. Look at the difference. Wow, that is staying for sure. Next up, we have Rocky Mountain High. This is a beautiful, like, dusty mulberry, although with the separation that's been going on a lot of these bottles, I don't think it might be as dusty as I think. Oh yeah, nope, not dusty at all. Although this is one of their older brushes, but this color, you guys, is gorgeous. So that is staying. Next up, we have Curvum. This one is another dusty berry shade. Kind of what I thought Rocky Mountain High would be, except it wasn't. So I think we're going to go ahead and keep Curvum. Next up is In Denial. This is another one of those colors that I got that is a very pale blue, basically white with just a pinch or variations of pinches of blue and or green in them for very light colors. Just to compare it to Get Lost, I think that's the closest one that it compares to. And actually, by comparison, In Denial over here is even lighter. And I would say that's true in person as well. There's even more white in Denial. Get Lost, by comparison, has that pinch more of a sky blue lean. So again, it just sort of depends on what color you're comparing it to at the moment. This one does have some purple in it. You could sort of see that in the separation here, but I don't know that that really came through very much. Yeah, I think I'm all right just getting rid of this one as well. Next up, we have Rein It In. This is a stunning deep jungle green. That is staying. Next up, we have another holo with a different lid. This one is called Cosmic Fate. This is a beautiful light orange holo. That is staying. Next up, we have Get a Mauve on it, and even though it is horribly unmixed there in the bottle, here's how it looks on the nail. It is a very pretty color. I do feel, though, that I have kept a few other mauve-y shades that I like better, so I think we're going to go ahead and let Get a Mauve on go. Next up, we have another holo. This one is called Purple Haze. So this is another formulation that isn't a straight up holo. It's more like a shifting shimmer that happens to maybe have some holo in it, but it is very pretty, so that's staying. All right, we do have a few more. Those are the ones that I kept out, that I moved out of the Helmer drawer to make room for moving things around. And the first one is another holo. This one is called Cherubic. And you guys, this is a light gold, and I did intentionally get this because the swatches of it were stunning. Now, I don't know if I've convinced myself that I like it enough to wear it, however, because again, it is one of their holos, so it is a very nice formula, but I feel like if I was reaching for a holo, it would not be a gold one. So even though I did buy this intentionally, I do think I'm going to go ahead and destash it. Next up, we have Ruby Slippers. This is a micro red glitter, kind of in a similar formulation as Slay the Day was, except it is a red instead of a berry. And this one I am going to keep. Next up, we have a neon. This is Yellen Yellow. And this is another range that I definitely need to do comparisons of. Most of the colors that I have in this range, I did not buy intentionally. They came to me in mystery boxes. However, I do like them enough to attempt to wear them, but I do have a lot, so I do need to compare those at some point. But for the time being, I do like this very liquid yellow highlighter color, so we're going to hold on to that. Next up, we have another shimmer. This one is called Rhythm and Blues. This is absolutely gorgeous, so that is staying. Apologies if you could hear Willow moving around. She's having a good old time exploring the nail room. Next up, we have Will Never Be Royals. This is another absolutely stunning formula, even though, again, we have a holographic cap. And I wouldn't call this holographic, but it is multichromatic and shifting. It is dazzling. That is a keeper. Next up, we have another light shimmer. This is Frostbite. Now, this is a very light blue with a bunch of shifts in it. This is actually a color family that I often end up grabbing, but one of the things I've discovered is on me, I don't love them. So I do think for this one, I'm going to go ahead and destash it. Next up, we have Pookylicious. This is a gorgeous shade of a lavender or lilac in a cream that is staying. Next up, we have another bottle of Love 'em and Leave 'em. Oh my goodness. See, it is definitely possible to dupe yourself. And I think the problem is with a lot of the dollar hauls that I got from Color Club, I didn't add them to my rack immediately. So when I saw them again in another haul, I just kept them. And yeah, I apparently duped myself a couple of times at least. So this second bottle of Love 'em and Leave 'em is going to be destashed. Next up we have It's About Time. This is a really beautiful herby green, so that is staying. Next up we have Be Mine. Now this is a rose scented polish. Rose is not my favorite, you guys. But it is a stunning jelly polish. I want to say I've worn this at least one time. The color is absolutely gorgeous. But I do think it's very possible to get a jelly in this color without the rose scent. And I just don't like rose. I'm very picky on certain things, and fragrance is another one of those things. I like florals when they're mixed in with other things, and only if the floral doesn't hit you over the head. And when this is a straight up floral fragrance, it's just rose, it's a bit much for me. So I've only reached for this one time, and while I did enjoy it, I think it's okay to just let it go. All right, next up we have another cream. This is Twice Bitten. This is another in that sort of a mulberry family. So who did I say looked mulberry? Curvum. It was kind of mulberry, although by comparison it's actually redder than Twice Bitten. Rocky Mountain High did not look anything like this in the bottle. That one's much darker. So yeah, I think for the time being we're going to go ahead and hold on to Twice Bitten. It's a beautiful cream color. Ooh, we have a purple holo, another one. This is Medal of Honor. Let's just go ahead and briefly compare it to that other purple holo. This one was Under Pressure. Under Pressure is darker, and as I mentioned before, most of the holos that I have from Color Club I'm keeping, and that is one of them. Next up, we have another one of their larger particled formulas of holo. This is Back to the Grind. This one I know I did end up with 2 bottles, but I think I've already destashed the second one. This is a beautiful color, so that is staying. Next up, we have more large glitters. This is Freeze Company. Look at all those glitters. Beautiful holos in a pink. That is staying. And then we have another purple holo. This one is Eternal Beauty. So just to compare it to the other purples that I've kept, we have Eternal Beauty, Under Pressure, and Medal of Honor. So Medal of Honor is the lightest one. Under Pressure, I feel like is a shade darker than Eternal Beauty. By comparison, Eternal Beauty has more of a bright grapiness to it. So for the time being anyways, we're going to go ahead and hold on to both of those. I'm just going to put my purple holos next to each other. All right, and then next up and last in the Color Club drawer, I have 2 thermals. They don't thermal anymore, so we need to see what they look like now. So this one has dyed in the brighter shade of pink up here at the top. This one is called Heat Wave. And then this one is called Shady Lady. And this one is, again, sort of that color up at the top. That is a beautiful shade of summery pink, so that one is staying. This one, however, I do think I'm all right just letting that one go. All right, so there we have it. That's 18 out of one drawer. We're getting rid of 18. That is a record for sure, but this is also one of the biggest drawers and all the same company. In any case, hopefully you guys had a good time hanging out with me and looking at polish. If you're new, think about hitting that little subscribe button down below. That way you don't miss out on any of my new videos. And as always, hopefully you have a good rest of your day. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you in that next one.